Oh, wait, I wanted to do an opening.
Then do it. We're here now.
It involved the mask, but oh well. Welcome to Creative Thinkers Halloween.
Ooh.
Don't ever do that again. It is October, finally. We have been waiting months we've been waiting months for this month so we can share some of our personal scary stories, and we are excited. Ah!
Sorry, that was just a jump scare. I just wanted to make sure everyone was in the mood.
You do realize this is going to be playing through someone's car.
Oh, yeah,
speakers,
no, absolutely.
And someone's going to be parked at a light, and all they're going to hear is, and they have the windows rolled down. They're like, oh, what was that? Is that okay?
It's good. If I scared anybody, let me know.
All right, so
the first episode of the month will be our personal scary stories.
And do we have some? Oh boy, do we have some.
So
I have one that has a video footage, actually. If you want to include it. So
of course I will.
Okay.
So who wants to go first? Do you want to go first? Do we want to crack on it? A little rock, paper, scissors action?
Yeah, let's rock, paper, scissors, actually. That's a good one.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. We got to do that again. We weren't prepared.
No, I won. It's a ghost.
Shut the... They're doing it again. No.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I win.
Okay, you get to go first.
So the first time I did a rock, he did a ghost. The second time I did
they
a
just
rock
saw
and
it.
they did paper. Yeah, but for the people who...
Well, they'll just have to go to our YouTube channel at Creative Station 2.
CreativeStation2.com. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the first time I ever had a paranormal experience.
Ooh.
Ever.
Okay.
So I was a little kid. Just to set the stage up a bit, I lived on a farm for, I'd say, about half my life so far. And they live in a small trailer house. And if you go towards the back, there's a little, looks like a little door. You take a right when you go through this door, and then it's a really tiny hallway that has the washer and dryer.
I know what you're talking about.
And,
Yeah, it has, and it leads to the back door, and it's like maybe wide enough for one person to walk through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it leads to the mudroom. There you go. Leads to the mudroom. And it goes to our back door. Our back door it's like an old, crappy wooden door that they've never replaced since the day they got it. And there's a window, but it's like one of those fogged windows they usually have inside of a bathroom. So light can come in, but only people can see the silhouette of you.
Yeah.
So at this point I had to have been 8. Shit, I'd probably even argue I was 5 or 6. I was young. I was really young. And I was going to go out the back because the dogs were barking. The dogs were freaking out over something. And, I really love my dogs. I wanted to go comfort them and make them feel better. And I looked at the silhouette. There was a silhouette of a shape on the other side of the fogged out window on the door. And it was blue. It was glowing. And at first I just saw a blue glow. And I was getting really freaked out. But it wasn't enough to make me really freak out.
That's weird.
But then it started changing. And it started turning into a shape. And it started turning into a flowing dress of something like a woman floating there. And it was blue. It was like... Not to kind of take away from the seriousness of it, but you ever watched the Ghostbusters remake with the chicks?
No, I haven't.
Okay, for anyone who's seen that remake, it looks kind of like the ghosts from that show or that movie. And it was just a bright blue. And once I saw it turning into a person and it started getting closer to the window, to the door, and I freaked the fuck out. I started crying. I started screaming. I ran away from there, and my grandpa was a sheriff for a long time, so he don't buy that crap.
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, you didn't see anything. If there was something, the dogs would have handled it and blah, blah, blah. And I never forgot that ever. It scared me.
You've never told me that. I've never heard that story.
I don't think I've ever really talked about it. It was the first time I ever saw something unexplainable.
That's weird. That is bizarre.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people say, it could be just like kids' imagination. You're just kind of losing it. But I
can say it can be a kid's imagination, but the imagination only goes so far.
Yeah.
And for your, I don't know. That's a tough one. That's kind of odd.
It's very strange. Yeah.
Okay, so my turn.
Yeah.
So my first story was when I was a sophomore in high school. I was 17, and we had I was going to a church with my girlfriend and one of my old friends, and we decided to do this lockdown with the church one night, and we played Manhunt.
Explain lockdown just in case they...
Basically, lockdown is just that everyone gets locked in the church overnight, and then just throughout the night, you and a bunch of people watch movies, play a bunch of games. It's just a jolly old time. A jolly old time. And at one point during the Manhunt, me, my friend, and my ex-girlfriend went upstairs to this studio booth, and it was the main corridor of where they have worship. They have... A lot of churches have like the main room, and then they have like a bunch of smaller rooms. This was the main room. It was huge. This is where they have the weddings. It had a giant studio booth floating up on top. And there's no window. It's just a booth, and you could literally jump off onto the floor. Okay, so there's no railing or anything. Well, there's railing, but anyway.
You can jump
over. Yeah. So we went up there, and we were relaxing in the booth. And we're just hiding. We were hearing people run, screaming, trying not to get caught. And my girlfriend, for some odd reason, went to go do something. I think she said she went to go use the restroom, but she didn't know where it was. And my buddy at the time...
Didn't you explain this one in an episode before?
No.
Am I crazy? Or did you just explain this to me off
camera? We tried recording this, remember, and we couldn't.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh! So we did try recording this episode, and I totally spaced it. I remember he did talk about that.
And so they both leave, and I can't remember why they left. So I'm just in this booth in this giant chapel by myself. And you know how when you get that feeling that like someone else is within your vicinity, like it could be behind a door, behind a wall, or literally standing right next to you. I all of a sudden got an overwhelming feeling of someone just right next to me. And I was kind of freaked out at first because like it's pitch black, but then I was like, okay, my mind's just playing tricks on me. But then it was a very, very recognizable feeling. So I didn't get scared, and it was like welcoming. And then all of a sudden, I just heard these thoughts. Have you ever, I don't know if anyone has ever had this, but have you ever sat there and you heard thoughts, not voices, but thoughts that they weren't your thoughts? That's what I heard. And it was so faint and so small. And all I said was, Grandma? And I heard, yes. And again, these weren't voices. These were like in my head. And I'm like, okay. So I started freaking out a little bit, and I like calmed down, and I asked 3 questions. I asked, am I a good person? And she said, yes. And I said, am I going down the right path? And she said, no. And I said, do you still love me? And she said, yes. And I just broke down into tears. And I basically walked out of the booth and found the pastor. He was like, Ryan, you okay? And I was like, I just had a weird moment. I can't be here right now. I just, I'm crying. I'm bawling my eyes out. And my girlfriend's like, what's going on? Like, why are you bothering? Why are you crying? And I didn't tell them at that specific time what just happened. All I said was that I just had like something weird just happened. That's it. So to this day, I believe it was my grandmother, but I was very, very skeptical and I'll tell this next story later why I think it was my grandmother, because I was very, very skeptical, because I honestly thought I was like going crazy. I thought I was actually losing my mind, and I thought it was just my brain playing tricks on me. And just for years, it dwindled in my head, and I just didn't know if it was real or not.
I want to know how many people have like had experiences like that, where they have thoughts in their head, but they know it's not theirs. And I want to know why that happens. I want to know, because
sometimes a lot of people, if you want to look at it at a spiritual aspect, a lot of people think that it's a demons or an angel or something like that, depending on what the thought is, if it's negative or positive. But I think a lot of it has to do with it's our own subconscious that we are unaware of that's being tapped into.